So I've shot on Micro Four Thirds for a couple years now and think I have a pretty decent knowledge of the system at this point. But being a Panasonic guy, I've actually never shot on an Olympus lens, which is what I've got here today. It is the Olympus 12 to 50 millimeter 3.5 to 6.3. So it's not a very fast lens, especially being a Micro Four Thirds lens, and especially when zoomed into 50 millimeters, since it does not have constant aperture. However, my main reason for picking up this lens is due to electronic zoom. This means that instead of having to constantly twist the zoom ring to zoom in and out, you just kind of nudge it, I guess, and then the internal mechanisms just kind of zoom for you. And the harder you nudge it, the quicker it zooms in and out. This is pretty neat because when you manually zoom, you basically have to constantly twist the zoom ring, and this can cause a lot of jitters as you zoom in and out. So that's why an electronic zoom is really pretty neat if you're doing video. Also, lens has stabilization, but being an Olympus lens along with a Panasonic body, I'm not sure if that works with dual image stabilization. From my tests, it seemed pretty stable. And also, I think another great feature of this lens is that it does the zooming internally. So what that means that at 12 millimeters to 50 millimeters, it is this size. It doesn't enlarge as you zoom in, so it just stays this size at every focal range. This is really pretty cool if you've got like your camera on a gimbal, because zooming in and out isn't going to affect the size of your camera, so it's not going to affect the balance of whatever gimbal you've got your camera on. So the lens it's neat. It's got a really awesome focal range, 12 to 50, but with a crop factor that's a 25 to 100, so it really does cover most scenes. Pretty wide at that 25 and pretty tight at 100 millimeters. And the electronic zoom along with the internal zooming is really a pretty nifty combo. That really is something that this lens has that really makes it kind of special in my opinion. And as for the image quality, it's meh. It's what it is. It's just, I'm not a pixel peeper, so just average. Nothing special. And the variable aperture does suck, but you buy it knowing that you have variable aperture, so I'm not gonna complain too much about it, especially at this price range. Constant aperture is a pretty premium feature anyway that you're not going to find on most lenses this price. And speaking of the variable aperture, just be aware that as you zoom in, your exposure will shift because the aperture closes down as you zoom in. You can combat this by stopping down to 6.3 right out the gate. So what this does is that as you zoom in, your aperture will stay at 6.3. It won't be shifting because obviously it's already down to its minimum aperture value. But don't know if that's how you would put it, but it's not going to have to stop down, so your exposure is going to just be constant. So overall, it's fine, better than fine if you crave that really smooth zoom. And also if you want the focal range on this guy, because once again, 24 to 100 millimeters is a great focal range that covers most things, most scenes. Hopefully I answered some questions some of y'all might have had. If you're interested in this lens, go ahead and drop some questions if you want. Maybe I can answer them, maybe I can't. I don't know, I'm not the most knowledgeable guy out there. I just know basic things. I'm never going to get too super detailed in these though. I'm not going to tell you what focal lengths I shot at. I'm not going to tell you what aperture I shot at. It's a little too much work. I don't want to work that hard. This was a little more work than I want to do anyway, so yeah. You hear that? That's the clutch. It's nice. And I guess that does it for this. It's my first overview. Hope you liked it. If you didn't, sorry. And that's that. Goodbye.